But this guy out of Detroit is really starting to open up some eyeballs. 6'4", 214, Isaac Tesla. Now, Isaac Tesla scored again this past Saturday with the Detroit Lions. Now, he's in a receiver room where, obviously it's Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams. And Jameson Williams is finally not injured and finally not suspended. Great. Congratulations. You've done what you're supposed to do. But that wide receiver 3 spot is still kind of up in the air. Tim Patrick, the former Denver Bronco, who's just back-to-back basically ACL injuries in the past. Like, how is that kind of shaping up roster-wise? But Isaac Tesla, if he continues to impress in the preseason, this is a guy that you could see thrown into the wide receiver 3 position, kind of like a who is that guy on the Colts out of Cincinnati? The wide receiver out of Cincinnati that was a rookie last year that was just kind of this deep threat capability type player. But if you have an efficient quarterback, you could see a lot more target share towards his way. And, you see him on the outside of the numbers, catching red zone targets and jump balls. It could be a good standard fantasy option. But, just in terms of talent, not in terms of fantasy, I think Isaac Tesla out of Arkansas could be a really fun guy to watch, a really intriguing talent to creep up on as this season and the next season unshape or how it unravels. And Lou Big Suey for Isaac Tesla. But, he's looked really impressive in the red zone and on jump balls for the Detroit Lions so far. But, and then there's 2 cats on the Chicago Bears. Like, the Chicago Bears put up 38 points in their, week 2 preseason game. Caleb Williams looked phenomenally sharp. Ben Johnson seems to be getting in the hang of things as the head coach. Nothing is set in stone yet, and it's going to be a very difficult division. But Luther Burden out of Missouri and Ja'Day Walker out of Texas A&M is an undrafted guy that has come in, and he started to catch, I believe, I'm going to reference my notes here, but undrafted, 3 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown, climbing the depth chart. This is a guy that nobody even really thought of or heard of, but of course Luther Burden is going to be the guy that everyone's putting eyeballs on, along with Rome Odunze in his second year. But outside of DJ Moore, everything's kind of fluctuating. We didn't see much from Odunze in year 1. What are we going to see from year 2? We're not sure. Luther Burden had a large amount of questions coming into the draft in terms of, legal troubles and off the field issues and, just in terms of pure talent. But, Ja'Day Walker played for the Texas A&M Aggies with a lot of quarterback shuffling. So maybe his draft stock was corrupted due to something like that. But he's making a name for himself. My bet is he makes the roster. But in terms of instant opportunities and red zone targets, this is one of those guys that I think you're going to see. It's like, man, you're seeing glimpses of some really explosive plays, and not much more. But it's he's 6'3", 206 pounds. Is a big framed receiver. It could be a sleeper guy to keep an eye on. So we'll keep an eye on that with Ben Johnson's offense